Good afternoon, everyone. We'll just continue with that same problem. So when they ask use duality to solve, first we have to find the dual, solve the dual by either simplex method or by big M method, and then write the answers. Because when we calculate the dual, the variables are changed to y1, y2. So once you solve by using simplex method or big M method, you will get the values of y1, y2. But we want to get the values of x1, x2, x3. So for that, we have to see how it is obtained from the final table, the values of these variables. So first step will be convert or calculate the dual of this problem. Again, the variables are this we have started with in the morning, x1, x2, x3. So in the dual, we will have two variables y1, y2. And we had this dual. Till here we have done in the morning. So now what we have to do is solve this LPT by using a simplex method or a big M method. To apply simplex method, when we have all the constraints to be less than or equal to an objective function maximization, we can always apply the simplex method. So in the simplex method, what do? We add the slack variables S1, S2, S3, give the cost as 0, and then form the initial basic table and then proceed till all Zj minus Cj's are greater than or equal to 0. तो यहाँ तक तो सेम है. उसके बाद वो लास्ट टेबल से हमें कैसे x1 x2 निकालना है वही मुझे बताना है, बाकी तो सब सेम कैलकुलेशन ही है. Okay, so we are adding, since there are three constraints, we are adding three variables s1, s2 and s3. So we will have these equations, okay? Giving the cost as 0 to these slack variables and converting these constraints to equality constraints. ठीक है, जो हमने अभी तक किया है सिंप्लेक्स बिग एम वही प्रोसीजर फॉलो करना है. खाली हमें, क्योंकि हमने क्या किया है, वेरिएबल्स को चेंज करके y1 y2 में कर दिया है, which means that we will be getting only the values of y1 y2, not x1 x2. So how do we identify the values of x1 x2 from the table, that I will tell you. So now writing all the variables now, y1, y2, s1, s2, s3 and bi's. Writing the variables, all the variables we have to write it here, y1, y2, s1, s2, s3. And the right hand sides are denoted by bi. Then writing the coefficients of all these variables from each of these constraints. So first constraint coefficients will be the first row. So 1, then we have 3, then we have 1, S2 coefficient is 0, S3 coefficient is 0, Bi is the, what is that? Yes, right, very good, very good. Yes, it's W, not Z, correct. यहाँ पे W आएगा, that is true. मैं चेंज नहीं करती फिलहाल, मैं इसको यहाँ पे W लिखना है, ठीक है, not Z, very good. Not able to write it with the mouse. This is W, okay? Z नहीं रहेगा, यहाँ पे W रहेगा. Okay, that is nice. So first constraint, first row, then second constraint, 4, 1, 0, S1 is not there, S2, 1, 0, 9, 2, 2, 0, 0, 1 and 1. जैसा हम लोग करते हैं वैसे ही करना है. उसके बाद Cj लिखना है. Cj's are the coefficients of x1, x2 in the objective function. So 5, 4, 0, 0, 0. यहाँ पे yb लिखेंगे because all the variables are y here, so I'm writing it as yb. Normally I should add xb when we had the variables as x1, x2, etc. तो यहाँ पे yb लिखूंगी क्योंकि y variable है यहाँ पे. So y variable yb will be the 3 by 3 unit matrix. So 1, 0, 0 corresponding to S1, 0, 1, 0 corresponds to S2, and 0, 0, 1 is corresponding to S3. Then the cost of these variable, that is CB, 0, 0, 0. ZJs, initially ZJs will be 0 for all the simplex method. 0 into 1 plus 0 into 4 plus 0 into 2. So 0, all the elements will be 0. Okay, because we'll have 0 into 1, 0 plus 0 into 4 plus 0 into 2. Everything is multiplied by 0. So we will get first Zj row to be 0. Then we have Zj minus Cj. Minus 5, minus 4, 0, 0, 0. If all Zj minus Cj's are positive or 0, we get the final answer. But now, since we are having two negative numbers in Zj minus Cj, we have to choose the most negative number. So most negative number matlab without negative sign, whichever is greater, that is called as the most negative number. So here, minus 5 will be the key column. So this column will become the key row. Then we have to take the ratio to decide. And the ratios are taken for positive numbers only. In the key column, if you are having a negative number or 0, don't take the ratios here. If you're having all positive numbers in the key column, then only take the ratios of Bi upon the corresponding positive elements in the key column. So 2 upon 1, 2, 9 upon 4, 2 point, and 1 upon 2 is 0.4. Minimum of these values will be the key row. So minimum value is 0.5. So third row becomes the key row. First column and third row. Intersection of this key row and key column is called as the key element. So we have key element to be equal to 2. This is a normal, what we have done for simplex, what we have done for, what is that, big M method, everything is the same. यहाँ पे there is no artificial variable because we are not subtracting a surplus variable. We are adding a slack variable. That is why we have all, what is that? We don't have any artificial variable in the simplex method. उसके बाद क्या करते हैं? Key element निकालने के बाद what is the next procedure? After getting the key element, what is the next procedure? Divide by 2. Divide, since 2 is the key element, divide the entire row. Divide the third row by 2. Do not use any other transform. Don't interchange first row and third. Nahi karna hai. Whatever, whichever row that key element is present, that row has to be divided by that particular key element. So पूरे third row को 2 से divide करना है. बाकी सब same रखूंगी मैं. So in the next table, again, I will cancel the Cj, Cb, Zj and ratio and also divide by 2. Okay. Hope all of you are having this table so that we can write the next table. So dividing the second row by 2. So I've cancelled out that Cj column, Cb column, Zj column and the ratios. And also I've divided the third row by 2. So this is the table which we get after simplifying, after dividing by the key element. Only first step you require that Zj, that is Zj, Cj, Cb column. Uske baad, you don't require that those columns and rows. Okay. Now, whatever is the key element, we have made the key element 1, make the remaining elements in that column 0. So key element is made 1, the remaining elements are made 0 by using the row transformation. So the row transformations will be, अगर मुझे इसको 0 करना है using this one, so I will write R1 minus R3. It is R1 minus R3. अगर इसको 0 करना है तो R2 minus 4R3 and इसको 0 करना है तो R3 plus 5R3. So the third row will remain the same. Write the variables first. Third row same रहेगा. Tell me what is the first row. First row में first element क्या होगा यहाँ पे? What is the element here? 0. Okay. Second, R1 minus R3. So 1 minus 1, 0. 3 minus 1, 2. Then 1 minus 0, 1. 0 minus 0, 0. 0 minus half, minus half. 2 minus 1 by 2, कितना हो गया? No, only artificial variables cancel होते हैं. स्लैक और सरप्लस वेरिएबल कैंसिल अगर A1 A2 वाले हैं तो वो कैंसिल होता है दिशा. ओके, these slack or surplus variables will not get cancelled. Only the artificial variables, why it is getting cancelled when it is out of the basis, because we are given the cost as minus n there. Only for that purpose we are cancelling that artificial variable. ठीक है, clear? So slack or surplus S1 S2 जो भी हैं, those columns will not get cancelled. With that we have to continue till the last step. Only the artificial variables. The name also we can say artificial. That is why we're cancelling that artificial variable once it leaves the XB column or YB column. Okay? Yeah. So what is the last row? Last element? 2 minus 1 by 2. 3 by 2. Okay. Second row. 4 minus 4, 0. 1 minus 4. Minus 3. 0 minus 0. 1 minus 4 into 0, 1. 0 minus 4 by 2, minus 2. 9 minus 1 by 2. How much is that? 9 minus 1 by 2 is? Is it okay? 7? Let's check this. I don't think it is 7 हो रहा है क्या? आ रहा है क्या? Okay, 9 minus 4 by 2 है ना? Okay, okay, 9 minus 4 by 2. 17 नहीं आएगा, it's 9 minus 4 by 2 है ना? R2 minus 4 R3. So 9 minus 4 by 2. 9 minus 4 by 2 is 9 minus 2. That is equal to 7. ठीक है, 7 है ना? Right है ना? Then the last row. R3 नहीं, R4 हो जाएगा. नहीं, R4 हो जाएगा ये वाला part. This is R4. This is R4. R4 plus 5 R3. R4 plus 5 R3. So what is the first element then? यहाँ पे क्या होगा? Minus 5 plus 5, that is 0. Then minus 4 plus 5, that is 1. Next is 0, 0, 0, 5 by 2. Okay? So which variables are there in the YB column? Now we don't require that column still. Which variables are there in YB? S1. Okay, 1, 0, 0 is corresponding to S1. 0, 1, 0 corresponds to S2. And 0, 0, 1 corresponds to Y1. Zj minus Cj. Also check whether when you write these variables S1, S2, Y1, the Zj minus Cj row has to be 0 for these particular columns. तो S1 के नीचे 0 होना चाहिए, S2 के नीचे 0 होना चाहिए, and Y1 के नीचे 0 होना चाहिए. It has to become 0, otherwise you're making some mistake there. Okay, so now we cannot, we cannot proceed further. We have got all Zj minus Cj's either 0 or positive. ठीक है, तो now in dual, अभी यहाँ पे solution actually क्या है? Y1 is equal to 1 by 2. Dual का solution है Y1 equal to 1 by 2, Y2 equal to 0, Y2 equal to 0. But we don't want to calculate the values of Y1, Y2. We have to use duality to calculate the values of X1, X2, X3, not the values of Y1, Y2, Y1 and Y2. So what we have to do is, now remember that what I told you, the variables becomes the constraint. Constraints becomes the variable. So in the dual, we have added first S1 constraint, S1 slack variable to the first constraint. Okay, S1 is added to the first constraint. Constraint है dual में. So constraint का वहां पे होता है variable, which means that the value of the variable x1 will be equal to 0. Since S1 was added to the first constraint in the dual, the value of the first variable will be equal to 0. So I will get x1 equal to 0. S2 was the variable which was added to the second constraint. And the second constraint corresponds to the second variable in the given problem. So x2 is also equal to 0. Similarly, S3, and that is equal to 5 by 2. The solution is x1 equal. तो जितने भी हम स्लैक और सरप्लस वेरिएबल्स ऐड करते हैं, जो स्लैक वेरिएबल हमने जो भी कंस्ट्रेंट को ऐड किया है, okay, that variable will be having these values. Zj minus Cj में जो भी values है वो variable, वो S1, S2, S3 की, those values will become the values of x1, x2 and x3. ठीक है? So we are not writing the values of y1. We are writing the values of x1, x2, x3 from the final table. So we have to see what is the last row for these variables S1, S2, S3, which were added to first constraint, second constraint and third constraint. So first variable की value 0 है, second variable की 0 है, third variable की value 5 by 2 है. And then calculate z from the original z function. We will get that is to be equal to 5 by 2. Any doubt in this? How to calculate the values of x1, x2 from the dual? Normally हम लोग क्या करते थे अभी तक, y1 की वैल्यू 1 by 2, s2 की y2 की 0 एक्सेट्रा. बट यहाँ से हमें x1, x2 की वैल्यूज निकालनी है, x1, x2, x3 की वैल्यूज निकालनी है. तो सी अंडर द कॉलम्स फॉर द स्लैक और सरप्लस. अगर सरप्लस है तो भी हम लोग ऐसा निकाल सकते हैं. Whatever is the last row of that column. Clear? If you have any doubt, you can ask. Otherwise, I can move to the next problem. जितने भी हमने स्लैक और सरप्लस वेरिएबल्स ऐड किए हैं, सब्ट्रैक्ट जो भी किया है हमने, वो वेरिएबल्स के लास्ट रो में देखना है क्या, लास्ट रो में देखना है क्या आंसर आया. वही होगा वैल्यूज x1, x2, x3 की. बस उतना ही देखना है. ये इतना ही डिफरेंस है ड्युअलिटी से सॉल्व करने. It has to be solved by simplex method or big M method, but the answer has to be got from the final Zj minus Cj row. नॉर्मली हम लोग bi से आंसर लिखते हैं ना, तो ड्यूअल में Zj minus Cj से हमको आंसर निकालना है. Next problem. Use duality to solve. Maximize z equal to 15x1 plus 10x2 subject to 3x1 plus 5x2 greater than or equal to 5, 5x1 plus 2x2 greater than or equal to 3, x1, x2 greater than or equal to 0. यूज ड्युअलिटी दिया हुआ है, तो हमें डुअल निकालना है, डुअल को सॉल्व करना है और फाइनल आंसर में से ये वेरिएबल्स की वैल्यूज निकालनी है. तो फर्स्ट वी हैव टू कैलकुलेट द डुअल. सो राइट द डुअल. Objective function is maximization. Constraints are greater than or equal to. So we have to convert these constraints to less than or equal to by multiplying both the constraints by -1. First step is converting all the constraints to less than or equal to. इसको नहीं करना है, खाली constraint. This is called as non-negativity constraint. Write the dual. First, we'll write the matrix for this one, x1, x2, 15, 10, minus 3, minus 5, minus 5, minus 2, minus 5, and minus 3. उसके बाद write the dual. There will be two variables y1, y2, because when we write when this column will become the row, we will have 2. So minus 5, minus 3. And the transpose is the same actually, 15, 10. So writing the, what is that, dual. Minus 5y1, minus 3y2, subject to minus 3y1, minus 5y2 greater than or equal to 15. Since none of the variables are unrestricted here, we can have the inequality minus 5y1, minus 2y2 greater than or equal to 10, y1 by 2 greater than or equal to 0. Now, how to solve this equation? How to solve this equation? By, can you solve by simplex method? Remember, for simplex method, the constraints are to be less than or equal to, and the right hand side should be positive. So here it cannot be solved by simplex method, it has to be solved by big M method. So subtracting a surplus variable from here, from both the constraints, and adding an artificial variable. So there will be two surplus variables and two artificial variables. So solving by big M method, subtracting a surplus variable and adding an artificial variable. Yeah, this is also important because we had the objective function as minimization. So we have to convert this minimization problem to maximization problem by changing the signs of, फिर से z लिखा है क्या वहाँ पे? हाँ, हर जगह z आ गया है यहाँ पे. This is w again. This is w, okay, not z. This is wrong actually, w है यहाँ पे. Oh God. Change here only. This is w. Adding, subtracting two surplus variables and adding two artificial variables, because we have both the constraints greater than or equal to. So writing all the variables, y1, y2. Actually, a minus है कि plus है previous इसमें. One second, I have doubt here. One second. Something is done now. What was the problem here? Minimize. Already minimize minus 5 था ना यहाँ पे. So when we convert to maximization, we will have plus there. That is also a mistake here. तो यहाँ पे we will have everything positive here. That means, you know, right? Plus, this also will become plus. Difficult now to cancel that. y1, y2, s1, s2, a1, a2, bi's, -3, -5, -1, 0, 1, 0. You can write in any order. You can write S1, A1 first, and then S2, A2. I have written S1, S2, A. Any order you can write the variables and write the corresponding coefficients. So -3, -5, -1, 0, 1, 0, 15. Similarly, the second row, CJs 5, 3, 0, 0, -m. Again, I told you, after converting this to maximization only, you have to add, write 0, S1, 0, S2, and -m. Don't change the signs of this also. First, you convert minimization to maximization, and then add the slack variables or surplus variables, whatever is there. So, YB column में होगा A1 and A2. CB will become -m, ZJ. So -m into -3, 3m, and here 8m. 3m plus 8m, 3m plus 5m, that is 8m. 5m plus 2m, that is 7m. M minus 0, m. 0 minus m, minus m, minus m. Zj minus Cj's will become 8m plus 5, 7m plus 3, m, 0, 0. Can we proceed further? m minus 5, okay, or 8m plus 5. Can we proceed further? Because Uttara, we have to convert minimization problem to maximization problem. Okay, so we had minimize z equal to -5 and -3y2. So I'm converting this to maximization. So maximize minus w equal to maximization of यहाँ पे w आ जाएगा. Minimize w will become minus maximization of minus w. Okay, yeah. Which will be the, Harsh is saying 8m minus 5. Which will be the key column in this case? Zj minus Cj, yeah. What is that, Yash? Zj minus Cj means? हाँ, कैसे कैसे? हाँ, वो मैंने पहले चेंज किया था, यहाँ माइनस आएगा बिकॉज पहले यहाँ माइनस था ना. यस, दिस विल बिकम माइनस, दैट इज ट्रू. ओके, कौन सा लेकिन नेगेटिव कौन सा है? मोस्ट नेगेटिव कौन सा है? दिस विल बिकम माइनस. ये माइनस होगा. दिस इज माइनस, दिस इज ऑल्सो माइनस. यस, yeah. Tell me which is most negative number. Just have this as minus. Huh. Yes, right, Tejas. We don't have any, like, m is very large. m की वैल्यू बहुत बड़ी है. अगर मैंने m को 100 भी ले लिया तो 8m minus 5 कितना होगा? It is going to be positive number. And 7m minus 3 is also going to be positive number because m की वैल्यू बहुत बड़ी है. अगर मैंने 100 भी लिया तो भी इसकी वैल्यू पॉजिटिव ही रहने वाली है. 8m minus 5 is also positive. 7m minus 3 is also positive. All are positive, which means that we cannot proceed further. And here the values of the artificial variables are 15 and 10, which means that this has no feasible solution. The dual has no feasible solution, and the given problem will have an unbounded solution. Okay? The dual has no feasible solution, or dual has a pseudo-optimum solution, but hence the given problem will have an unbounded solution. Even if you solve the given LPP using simplex method, then you will get an unbounded solution. यहाँ पे हमको पूछा था कि duality से prove करना है. अगर हमने डायरेक्टली भी प्रूफ किया तो इसका आंसर अनबाउंडेड ही आएगा. ओके, सो ड्यूअल हैज अनबाउंडेड मतलब क्या होता है? यहाँ पे नेगेटिव रहता है और यहाँ पे चूज करने कुछ भी नहीं रहता है. Those problems are called as an unbounded problems. We have positive and zero number. Yes, they just said the same thing. पहले का chapter, ठीक है. So this has a unbounded. Dual has no feasible solution, but the given problem or the primal has an unbounded solution. One more पूरा होगा कि नहीं? Okay, before that, just tell me about the mini. You want to keep the same mini project or you want to change the groups? Same group रखना है कि change करना है? DSC will have the same रखते हैं या maximum you can do is like जहाँ पे 4 थे वहाँ 5 कर सकते हैं, चाहिए तो. ओके, जहाँ 4 थे वहां पे अगर 5 करना है तो करो, otherwise keep the same. If anyone wants to change, you can change, but make sure that equal number of groups are there in each batch. ठीक है, 5 भी कर सकते हैं. 5 into इतने 20 है ना, तो 5 into 4 ग्रुप्स में हो जाएगा एक बैच का. ऐसा भी कर सकते हैं, फिर सेम रखो तो भी चलेगा. सो आई गिव यू द टॉपिक्स अकॉर्डिंगली. स्टार्ट प्रिपेयरिंग. लास्ट में वेट नहीं करते हम, जैसा हो जाता है वैसा हम लोग प्रेजेंटेशन ले लेंगे. सो कीप, आई गिव यू द टॉपिक्स मे बी विदिन बाय दिस वीकेंड. You can start preparing on that. With tutorials, I will start giving on first topic. So everybody is saying the same. ठीक है, I'm not changing the group. If you want, if there is any change in the group, please let me know the change so that I can assign that problem accordingly. किसी को भी चेंज करना है तो चेंज कर सकते हैं, लेकिन 5 जिसका पहले से, ओनली थिंग दैट नो ग्रुप शुड हैव लेस देन 4 स्टूडेंट्स. ऐसा हम चेंज कर सकते हैं. जैसे 6 को हम 5 कर सकते हैं, 4 और 6 2 ग्रुप है तो इसको 5 कर सकते हैं. सो देयर वर मच चेंजेस देयर, तो आई थिंक यू कैन हैव गो विद द सेम ग्रुप, आई थिंक. ठीक है, जस्ट लाइक लास्ट टाइम वी हैव टू प्रेजेंट दैट मिनी प्रोजेक्ट. फाइन. So DSC student, you can have the same group which you have given me for EM3. The same thing will continue for EM4 also. Topics and problems I will give you. Midterm कब होगा? Any idea? I'm not sure. Maybe second week of March or something like that. पता नहीं, अभी तक कुछ आया तो नहीं है. Let's see. Result नहीं आया ना अभी तक थर्ड सेम का. आया रिजल्ट? नहीं ना. नो ना, अभी तक तो नहीं आया, तो शायद उसके बाद ही. लेट्स सी, विल गिव द रिजल्ट सून, आई थिंक. देखते हैं. तो मिड टर्म में हम प्लानिंग टू हैव 3 मॉड्यूल्स. अभी दूसरा मॉड्यूल खत्म होने को आया है. थर्ड मॉड्यूल इज अ स्मॉल मॉड्यूल दैट आल्सो विल फिनिश इट ऑफ. 3 मॉड्यूल्स वी आर प्लानिंग टू कीप फॉर मिड टर्म. सो मोस्टली शायद मार्च एंड होगा या फिर मार्च थर्ड वीक, समथिंग लाइक दैट. उसके पहले डीएससी वालों का होना है ना, तो दे विल टेक दैट फर्स्ट. उसके बाद होगा फोर्थ सेमेस्टर का. ओके, सो यूज ड्यूअलिटी. जस्ट फिनिश ऑफ दिस प्रॉब्लम. जल्दी करो, जल्दी हो जाएगा. दिस इज द लास्ट प्रॉब्लम व्हिच आई हैव इट हियर. जल्दी खत्म करते हैं. यू विल आल्सो बी फ्री, आई विल आल्सो बी फ्री. सो यूज ड्यूअलिटी, राइटिंग x1 x2 3 minus 2, writing all the coefficients of x1 x2 from the constraints and the right hand side. So many people had made mistake in the third semester. It was asked Carl Pearson's coefficient of correlation and Spearman. Many of you have done only Spearman. So you have not read the whole question properly, I think. Many of you have done only Spearman. Both are not done. So because of that, so many have lost marks. Both were asked in the exam, but I think only one part was many. I think majority have proved only one part. Only few of them have done the whole part. Many of you, not only Akshay, many of you. बहुत सारे लोगों ने जल्दी जल्दी करके एक ही खत्म कर दिया था, but they had asked both there. No problem, होता है. जैसे पूरा प्रॉब्लम पूरा रीड करना है क्या पूछा है. Okay? Because you were knowing the answers, but still you had made mistakes. So don't do that. So write the dual y1, y2, y3, y4. transpose of this matrix. Same thing what we have done in the morning. Minimize W equal to 5y1 minus y2 plus 4y3 plus 6y4. यहाँ पे छोटा डिफरेंस ये है कि I'll tell you what is the difference here. So this is the dual. Paper was lengthy, I do understand, because 5 marks, whatever was normally was used, they used to ask for 8 marks, that is asked for 5 marks. It was very lengthy, I do understand. Because Carl Pearson's are dono push ही सकते, because like Carl Pearson's or Spearman was okay, but Carl Pearson's was also a little bit lengthy on calculation of all these columns and all. Paper was very lengthy. Even Fourier series they had asked all lengthier problems. It was yeah. So now for applying big M method or simplex method, the right hand side has to be always positive. The right hand side should be positive to apply simplex or a big M method. तो सबसे पहले हमको इसको माइनस साइन से एक बार ड्यूअल निकालने के बाद सॉल्व करने के लिए द राइट हैंड साइड हैज टू बी पॉजिटिव. तो सेकेंड इसको हमें माइनस साइन से मल्टीप्लाई करना है. सेकेंड कंस्ट्रेंट को माइनस साइन से मल्टीप्लाई करना है पहले, उसके बाद एडिंग सबट्रैक्टिंग अ सरप्लस वेरिएबल एंड एडिंग स्लैब जैसा है वैसा. ओके तो पहले में हमको सबट्रैक्ट सरप्लस एड आर्टिफिशियल वेरिएबल. इन द सेकेंड केस व्हेन यू मल्टीप्लाई बाय माइनस साइन you will get less than or equal to, which means you have to add only a slack variable. जगह मैंने z लिखा है, everything is w actually. I'll change that in the thing. Minus क्या था यहाँ पे? Objective function was minimization. So again convert the problem to maximization by changing the signs. So minus this one, first one. After changing the inequality, we are adding a slack variable and all the variables, even these are equal to 0, or greater than or equal to 0. So whenever you have greater than or equal to constraint, it has to be solved by big M method only. When you have all less than or equal to constraint, then we can have a simplex method. So writing all the variables, 1, 0, 1, from the first equation, 1, 0, 1, 0, minus 1, S2 is not there, 0, A is 1, B is 3, minus 1, 1, 0, Y4 is minus 1, S1 is 0, S2 is 1, A is 0, 2, Cj minus 5, minus 1, minus 4, minus 6, 0, 0, minus M. Now listen here, when you write the YB column, you may find 0, 1, 1, 0 here also, okay? But this is not going to be coming in the basis. Okay? These are the variables. So variables अगर 0, 1 है तो उसको यहाँ पे नहीं लिखना है. Only the artificial variable and the slack variable start करना है हमको हमेशा यहाँ पे YB column से. So don't write Y2, Y3, Y2 here. Even though this is 1, 0, 0, 0, लेकिन यहाँ पे 0 उसका नहीं आने वाला है. Even if you take 1, 0, 0, 1, इसका यहाँ पे 0 नहीं आएगा. इसीलिए we don't take normally this Y2, Y3 variables as the YB column. Clear? तो हम जो YB का कॉलम लिखना है तो we are finding here 1, 0, 0, 1 for these variables also. So even if you take Y2, Y3, Y2 and write the coefficients, you will not get 0, 0 here. So that is why it has to start with the artificial variable or the slack variable, whatever is given. Don't take these two as the unit matrix, क्योंकि इसके नीचे 0 आने वाला है ही नहीं. Minus M plus 5, minus 1, minus M plus 4, 6, 0, 0. इसके नीचे 0, 0 आ जाता है. बिकॉज इफ यू राइट, सपोज यू राइट y3 हियर, तो y3 का कॉस्ट है -4 और यहाँ पे y2 का कॉस्ट है 1. सो व्हेन यू ऐड यू विल नॉट गेट द आंसर एज 0 हियर. Okay, so these two cannot be the basic variables. Now, which one is the most negative here? -m plus 5 or -m plus 4? -m plus 4. How do you decide that? Give m equal to 100. Put m equal to 100 and see which is the most negative number. अगर मैंने m को 100 लिया, तो I will get -100 plus 5, which is -95. अगर यहाँ पे m को 100 लिया, तो -100 plus 4, which is -96. So -95 और -96 में without the negative sign, 96 बड़ा है, the most negative number will be -m plus 4. Okay, -m, अगर मैंने m को 100 लिया, and see which one is the most negative number. So -m plus 4, this is a key column. Take the ratio. तो रेशियो हमें किसका लेना है? ओनली फॉर पॉजिटिव नंबर्स. वी आर हैविंग 1 is 0, 1 is 1, other one is 0. So this cannot be taken for ratio. We have only 1, that is 3 by 1. So this, even we need not calculate the ratio also, because automatically there are only 2 elements in the key column. So automatically this will become the key element. नहीं लिखा तो भी चलता है, because these ratios are not required. We have only one row. There is no minimum ratio required here. So this is the key element. Now key element is already equal to 1. You have to make only this element equal to 0 by using the row transformation. तो इसको छोड़ना है and zj वाले कॉलम में रो को छोड़ना है. So what will do? Cj का रो छोड़ दूंगी, cb I will cancel, cb I will cancel, zj I will cancel, ratio I will cancel, and write the next step. This is the key element. Only these many rows are required for calculation. So now this is 1, this is 0. Only this is to be made 0 by using this element 1. So it will be R3 plus m minus 4 R1. R3 plus m minus 4 R1. First 2 rows will remain the same. Only the third row has to be changed. So third row क्या होगा? पहले इसमें क्या आएगा यहाँ पे? 1, okay. Second में -1 plus m minus, तो -1 ही हो जाएगा ना. Next में 0, then 6, then m minus m plus 4. So 4, 0, and minus 4. So which variables are there in the basis? कौन सा वेरिएबल चेंज हुआ है नाउ? a पहले a था, a के बदले y3 हो गया अभी, क्योंकि उसके लिए 0 आ रहा है ना. जहां जहां 0 आ रहा है वो वेरिएबल्स यहाँ पे लिखना है हमको. तो वेरिएबल किस किस 0, y3 के नीचे 0 आ रहा है, s2 के नीचे 0 आ रहा है. तो yb कॉलम विल बी, a नहीं आएगा यहाँ पे, ये एक्चुअली निकल जा रहा है ना. तो इट इज गोइंग टू बी नाउ y3. This is y3. This column is not A, this is y3. So and it's very difficult to edit that. And you can do it later. So this is y3. This is y3. It is not A, it is y3. Okay, this is not A, this is y3. Why? Because y3 के नीचे 0 है और s2 के नीचे 0 है. zj minus cj. फिर से -1 is the most negative number. Again, second row will enter. Again, there are only two elements in the second in that column. So one automatically one will become the key. This will become the key element. Ratio नहीं भी निकाला तो you can make out that there is only one. This becomes the key element. Now make this element equal to 0. That is going to be the last step. Now you can cancel even this A column because now it is no more 0 here. Yes, we can cancel. Yes, I forgot to that. We can cancel that. We can cancel this A wala part. Cancel this row. Next column में इसको लेके जाने की जरूरत. Next row table में we don't have to write that A column. So in the next step, use the row transformation R3 plus R2 and then write the final answer. R3 plus R2 करके इसको 0 कर देंगे and then everything will become positive. We will get the final answer. So once the A के नीचे अगर 0 नहीं है तो you can just cancel that. यहाँ पे 1 change नहीं हो रहा है because when the key element is already equal to 1. So we're not dividing by that. It's not changing. But now this 100 has come to Y3 column 100, which means that A has gone out of the basis. This is the final step. Now solution. Okay. We had two variables in the given problem and we had added subtracted two surplus variables S1 and S2. So we have to see in the last row under the column S1 and S2. This is 4, this is 1. Z will be equal to 10. ठीक है, हमने S1 S2 ऐड सब्ट्रैक्ट किया था तो सरप्लस हो या व्हाट यू से स्लैक हो, दोनों के नीचे जो भी वैल्यूज आ रही है Zj माइनस Cj में, those two are the answers of the variables. जितने वेरिएबल हैं उतने स्लैक और सरप्लस वेरिएबल्स भी होंगे. So accordingly you will get the values of the variables given in the problem. Okay, we'll stop for today. If you have any doubt, you can ask.